All right, everyone. If you are a coach or entrepreneur who wants to grow your business this year, spread your message, and actually get seen, we got to talk about YouTube. I brought on with me today one of my very special clients and teammates now, Robyn Buchanan, to talk to you guys about all things YouTube and how you can use that to grow your business. Thanks for coming, Robyn.
Well, thank you so much for having me. I'm really excited to talk about one of my very favorite topics, which is YouTube.
It's very timely, it's very relevant. You've been helping me grow this YouTube channel, which is a really humbling experience. I have lots and lots of followers on other platforms, over 80,000 followers, but I am just building YouTube now. And it is so humbling to start from the bottom. So I want to do it right. I brought you on. And it's also timely because I've been having these conversations with all of my clients about A, the importance of organic content, but B, the importance of long form content because we are in a trust recession. And the easiest way for you to build trust with your audience is to get them to spend more time with you. And can't really think of a better platform to do that than with YouTube.
Yeah, YouTube is amazing. I've been on YouTube for almost 7 years. I've had two channels. I've grown my coaching business off of it. And I feel like I have a PhD in it because I have just studied it every day for so long. And YouTube is the best platform. It's the only platform that your your content can compound over time. It is searchable. How many times do you search something on Google and it gives you a YouTube video in return? But also
Mhm.
you can go to YouTube. It will suggest things. I keep mentioning that I had a suggestion of a video that was 12 years old, which was a Weird Al making of something video, just like shown to me. You could look up, like best blah, 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 like recipe or whatever, and it will show you stuff from 7 years ago, 2 years ago, 2 months ago, and it prioritizes what is new, but also it prioritizes what will work for the viewer.
That is so true. And it seems like it pushes things in your direction that you really do truly want to see, as opposed to the Instagram algorithm where I happen to glance at something weird one time a little too fast and all of a sudden like my whole feed is just nonsense, garbage, like weird things that I actually don't want to look at, and you're like, no, 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 I don't
Yeah.
want to see that. I don't get that from YouTube. I get, here's the latest news, here's some marketing content. It's not sending me anything random. It seems to be a totally different algorithm.
Yeah, and if it ever does, do a weird suggest or you do watch a video that's a little bit of a one-off, it seems to learn very quickly, okay, that was a one-off, right? Because it
Mm.
is an information repository for all sorts of things. And it is not like TikTok or Instagram where they're great for a lot of ways. Instagram is far better at DMing. YouTube has not cracked that code yet, but
Mhm.
its stuff is gone in sometimes hours to 24 hours. Like that's it. It's gone. It's not going to be resurfaced unless somebody decides they're going to go and pull up your channel and look through all of your old stuff, which, doesn't really happen.
I think I kind of like that DMing isn't really a thing on YouTube. It seems like a better place to put my attention and also not to be distracted because those pings and the messaging, it's actually not happening, which kind of brings me to my next question. Like, is why is YouTube the place to grow your audience? Like, how do we know that this is actually a good place to invest our time and energy and not just like another shiny distraction, just another app to and like add to our endless to-do list?
Yeah, a lot of people, especially entrepreneurs who are already stretched really thin and worth like, oh, I hear from people all the time, oh no, so I need to start on YouTube. I don't want to start on YouTube. It's just another big thing to do. Aside from search, aside from that sort of thing, it builds authenticity, it builds authority. So you can come up on YouTube and be really stiff and inauthentic, and the audience will very quickly tell you, all right, this is not working. You're not going to get a lot of views. The audience will always tell you what sort of is happening with your content, and it will not grow.
Mm.
But you can use it if you are authentic, if you show yourself a little bit, show you flubbing up, show you like trying to think what is the right word, right? That is helpful. And you can show your authority. And if you have a podcast, you need to be on YouTube because it is one of the biggest podcast platforms, if not the biggest right now. Plus, for me, I have YouTube Premium. I don't want to watch the ads. And I mean, some people want to, that's totally fine. But I have it. I can just treat everything like a podcast. I can listen to whatever I want, whether or not it's a podcast. But those longer form content is how you build that trust, as you've mentioned. It's how people start to feel connected with you. In this day and age of AI, where we can get information, whether or not it's, always accurate is debatable at this point in time, but we can get information. But what we're missing in a lot of cases is that connection, that human connection, and people need it so much over time. And if you're doing business, for example, sure, you can be like, yes, do this and this and this and this and this, which AI can tell you. But if people want to hear your stories, they want to hear what you did. They want hope that that where they are now is where you once were, and that valley that they're coming to, or they're going through, or they're hopefully just coming out of, that you've been there. So YouTube is not only a great thing for discoverability, which was the word I was thinking of before, but it also for connection and authenticity.
Gotcha. Okay. And so being a YouTube growth strategist, I'm assuming that that's what you're teaching on then. This is what you have results in. This is the kind of work that you've been doing. Tell me a little bit about like your own personal results from using these strategies on YouTube. How has that helped your business, other people's businesses?
Yeah. So in my own business, I had actually my main channel, I had gone through a couple of pivots. So, number one, I know how to do a pivot. I'm in the middle of one right now. So the numbers on my channel might not look that exciting, but I know what I'm doing. And in it, I grew my coaching business so that it pretty much runs itself right now. There's income coming in every month where I'm not hardly having to spend any time or energy over there right now. YouTube is so good for marketing. The best thing about it, especially once you get monetized, so you will need 1,000 subscribers, 4,000 watch hours. It's different with shorts, and I don't exactly play the shorts game too much. But once you have that and you get monetized, you're getting paid to market your business,
Mm,
which is really exciting
mm.
because one of my favorite strategies is doing foundational posts. So I like to, for me, I will talk about YouTube, search. I will talk about thumbnails. I will talk about titles. I will talk about hooks, like all of these things so that if somebody wants, they can go and look up that stuff. Now I can talk more about the strategy. I can talk about what's happening in YouTube. Like right now, there is an issue with the algorithm where reach is affected because that's what happens. They tweak things, but it always gets better. But I want to become that trusted source that people will go to when something is going on. And that is what can happen with YouTube is you are building that trust. And so for me in my business, that's what happened is, and even during one of those pivots where I was moving my audience from one channel to another, which is like a crazy thing to do, they were like, I miss you. You were always the person I would go to when I was looking for this advice or whatever. And then when you're doing a launch, what a great way to get people into your anything, your challenges, your webinars. I would do challenges, and the easiest way, of course, you can get people on your mailing list. You have to get people on your mailing list, but you get them on there, you pitch to them there, do a live stream, connect with people, chatting just like this, and then saying, like, join me. Make a video about it. It's that easy. You can private the video later if you want to or not. People who missed out, they can get on the wait list. It is the best way to get paid to market your business, to grow that business.
Hmm. Well, and what I noticed too, and what I've been telling clients is there's also the added benefit of you getting better at your craft. Like, yes, we want our audience to spend more time with us to get to know us. But when you make long form content as opposed to a B-roll 60-second Instagram video or like, I don't know, some trending dance, that takes zero effort. whatsoever. And that just might be content that gets attention. But if you're making a 10, 20, 30, 60-minute video, you can't fake it. You have to be teaching something valuable. You have to be entertaining. You have to have good stories, or no one's going to watch it. So it's also this invitation for you to step into your craft and to become better at what you do.
Yeah, absolutely. It truly is. And yeah, once you start like saying these things over and over and over again, I mean, you may be in your head, we're like, loosely, this is what I do. But once you start saying it over and over and you're doing the live streams, and I will have people come to my live streams and they're asking the questions, that is one of the best ways to get ideas for topics of videos, for even bringing stuff over to Instagram. Plus with YouTube, you can break things up if you want into reels and repurpose that. That is personally not my strategy. I feel like that really takes too long, and I don't actually think it transitions that well usually, or translates that well. But what you can do, write a script for your video or just an outline, which a lot of people are happy with. And then you just right after that have a short or slash reel that you're going to do. And then you have a short for YouTube and you have a reel for Instagram slash TikTok or whatever. So you can repurpose the same thing very easily with that authority, with that trust for people.
That makes sense. Yeah, I was saying to you before, the podcast clipping that tends to make really good shorts. You know, we get some pretty entertaining guests on, so I can always find like a perfect like 60-second snap of something that they said, like a shocking story, a reaction. But if your content is more educational, it's the clips just aren't as exciting,
Yeah.
is what I'm finding. So repurposing is amazing if it works, but that is a great suggestion. If you're going to make like an educational piece of content, why not just, it would be no extra effort just to go and, okay, immediately film a 60-second video just talking about what you just did.
Yeah, exactly. And when you know, the say you're teaching 3 steps to blah blah blah, just do one of the steps as your reel slash short, you know. And then the great news with YouTube is you can link to the longer form video from your
Right.
shorts. And I mean, right now, reach for shorts is better than it is for longs, as some people call them, for the longer forms. But, and people, it doesn't always translate, but it does start. I think the algorithm will slowly start being like, okay, I'm seeing the connection here.
Yeah. Okay. Well, what kind of videos are the ones that we want to be making as YouTube creators to actually grow an audience? Because it's not just a matter of like slapping up any old video. What works? What kind of content should we be focusing on when it comes to long form?
So there are 3 big types of videos that are good. And the first is discoverable. So this is where you're wanting to reach sort of like a broader audience. We are still talking to our niche. So for you, Carla, like entrepreneurs, but you would be a little more broad than as specific as perhaps you would be. And you're wanting something perhaps that's a little bit trending, also things that are maybe in the search, that are searched more commonly, but if you can sort of corner the market on that search, that's really good. But we want things that will show up in somebody's feed and that will bring people to the channel. So the second type of video is connection videos. And these are videos that where you're sharing more of a personal story. You could even show a little bit of behind the scenes, like your life. So for you, you could be like, this is me on my island trying to chase a fox away from my chickens. People will like that, whether or not they have chickens or a fox. They're like, hey, like I relate to this person on a human level. That is what people want. And for me, I could be like, hey, like this, I call them my film crew, which is I have 4 cats, 3 are disabled. And it's like, they will like bump into my tripod. And I'm like, yeah, that's the film crew. So connection style live streams are really great for that, because you can't, like, for me, like my energy is just different in a live stream. And I'm like, yeah, like bring your questions. And I'm like so excited. And I'll go off on these little tangents. People like that. So connection videos, stories that are a little more heart wrenching or warming or whatever, always good. And any kind of story you could do. I just told a story in one of my videos recently where I left $80 worth of groceries in the back seat of the car. I didn't realize it for 3 days, including like a ham, frozen vegetables, all of the stuff. Yeah. But people can relate to that. And it's like, now you'll go and check the back seat of your car next time you unload your groceries. So stuff like that helps people be like, oh my gosh, like, yes, I totally relate to this. Or they'll be like, I don't like this person, which is great because they weren't going to buy for you. You don't want them around. They could end up being a troll. The third type of video is a sales video. Now, these are videos where perhaps you're talking more about your opt ins. You can mention them in the other videos, but you're not going to lead with that so much. Quite often, you can do a video where it's almost like about your opt in or about the topic. So for me, I have an opt in for scripts. So I will say, like talk about scripting, and then I'll be like, hey, if you want, like, I've got it down below. That's a sales video. Sales videos can also look like discoverable videos, which is handy. And
Hmm.
sales videos are also really good for authority. You can put authority in anything, but it's really good for that. You can also tell client success stories, doing sort of like a journey of what it's like working with me. Yeah, that those are the three that I would break it down.
Yeah, I this is the kind of content that we've been implementing, like giving value, explaining a process, like doing like a workshop style video on a resource too. And then, hey, do you want this resource? You can have it. Just like click the link. That's an easy one to do. And then like client interviews, just like this. Like that's a really easy, valuable piece of content for people to look at. Because I gotta say, when I first started on this app, I was so overwhelmed with even knowing like what to put out here, which was strange for me. I put out an abundance of content everywhere else all the time, but there was just something different about this app. And I don't know, I'm curious to get your opinion. It like it is different. And just like we need to study like what works on TikTok, what works on Instagram, what works on LinkedIn, you do need to put a little bit of effort up front to study, well, what is YouTube like? Because what works on Instagram might not land over here.
Yeah, that's right. And you're wanting to get very clear on your niche. A lot of people, they're like, oh, I'll just talk about my business. And it's like, no, no, we need to be very clear on who the person is. It's the same. Like, you do need that on Instagram and TikTok. I feel like you need to go deeper with YouTube because then you can really get into like, what are their actual problems? What are the things that are keeping them up at night? What are the things that they're thinking about over and over and over again? What is and how is that impacting them? How is that impacting their relationships? How is that impacting their finances? All of the things. What are the mistakes they've done? Tried to fix it. Getting very clear on those sort of things are what will work on YouTube. And you want to be so clear on your title and your thumbnail and your hook. These are packaging of a YouTube channel is the most make and break thing of the even like the video. Some people say, well, like the idea, sure, the idea is good. I mean, of course, once you get them there, you need to like deliver, but you need to have, they will not click if it's not a good thumbnail. They will not click if the title doesn't confirm it. So if somebody's scrolling on YouTube, like I've got my phone and I go, oh, look at this title. Oh, that or that thumbnail. Oh my gosh, like that picture. It's got good contrast. It has 2 to 5 words, even one word is fine. And then you're using a facial expression. We don't need YouTube face, which is the like right, which so many people forever did. Like Mr. Beast, I think he still does, but his audience is younger. So that kind of matters. Again, like getting clear on your audience. But you're looking and you see that thumbnail that is like, oh, so that person looks concerned. It needs to match the tone of the video.
Mhm.
And then they immediately look at the title. That title has to confirm that thumbnail. And then as soon as they click on the video, the hook has to confirm the rest of the packaging. And then you set up what this video is about, deliver a little bit of authority. Like, so for me, I'll say I've been on YouTube for almost 7 years. I've had 2 channels. I've grown my coaching business. Like right there, that's my authority. And then you start getting into the video, which is where I break down, the script, we're hook again, tension, payoff.
Mm. Yeah, it's way more effort up front, but it's worth it. And yeah, I was totally resistant to the YouTube thumbnails when we started working together. So I don't want the YouTube face. I don't want
Yeah.
these like clickbaity titles. But at the end of the day, it's but what does the app want? There's what you want to do, but then there's what do people want? What does human psychology tell us about people seeing and clicking and buying and what do the apps want? It's the same with social media. we have to constantly adapt to not only like the apps and the algorithms, but what people want. And there's a sweet spot there, right? Between what you're good at, what you want, what the market wants. But we can't ignore the market. We can't ignore the app. Otherwise you'll make beautiful content or like a beautiful thumbnail and in a design that you want. But if the
Mhm.
app doesn't want it, then they're not going to watch that hour-long video you just made. So what was the point of that?
Well, that's just it. It a lot of people, yeah, they're resistant to making the facial expressions, but here's the thing. I will turn on my camera. It's the cringiest thing in the world, but I will just have it running like as a filming me, and I will be making all of these different facial expressions. But the number one thing when you're filming a video and when you're
Mhm.
making your thumbnail, get into the emotion of the video, the headspace of the viewer. So, and if you're making a sort of like a smile, you can't just be like, you need to get your eyes involved, your cheeks involved. I'm happy. I'm excited. And when you're filming it, think
I know.
about your best friend and how you're like, you and I have a relationship. So, like, I'm all
Yeah.
like, yeah, this is how we talk to each other, right? Think about
Yeah.
your best friend and be like, I'm telling you this thing, however you would. You maybe you don't have my energy, but
Yeah.
you are delivering it in a genuine way because
Mhm.
you wrote that for a reason. And yes, it's very easy. And I've made this mistake hundreds of times, literally,
Mhm.
where I'm just like going through my script and I'm just reading it like blah, 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 blah. The words aren't, aren't all of it. The words are like 10, 20%. It's like that 80% of emotion. It's that human connection.
How often do we have to make this really good strategic content? Do we have to show up every day on YouTube like we do on Instagram? How does that work?
No, so this is the other good thing. I know you know how I am with Instagram. Always like Instagram's hard, YouTube's easy. So for YouTube, the standard is once a week. A lot of people will say, upload as much as you need to. When you're first getting going, there's nothing wrong with making like 5 videos and putting them out sort of like one day after the other. To be honest, quite often, our first several videos are not going to be noticed. It can take up to 100 for YouTube to really know where you're going, but don't be discouraged by that. That's only 2 videos a week if you're just starting. Even doing one a week is fine, especially when you're just getting going. You know, it doesn't need to be perfectly edited. One of the biggest mistakes I made when I first started was first of all stopping and starting a million times because I wasn't saying it right, but then editing out every little bit of personality. And that's boring for people. So just start making the videos. Just film it. You can the iPhones, like the last 5, the cameras are amazing. The
Mhm.
audio is really good. Just make sure your audio is good. Make sure you have like a decent microphone. I have like this DJI microphone. I also have like this Rode microphone. And it one time a week is fine. Going live counts, right? And it's just showing the algorithm and just being consistent to who that your niche is, who that avatar is. And
Mm.
I have a friend, she has a great successful channel. I think she might have almost 200,000 subscribers. Most of her uploads get, 50, 30 to 50,000 views. She posts every 2 weeks. She's got little kids. She'll take off 3 months because she's writing a course and then she picks right back up and it's like no problem. I mean, not everybody can do that. And a lot of people will say, well, this person does that. Well, you're not that person just yet. We got to put in the reps, but we're learning with every rep. And then study
Mm.
YouTube. Do what I did. Get your YouTube PhD.
Well, and I think that like Sunny Leonard Doozy, am I saying her last
Hmm.
name right?
Yep. Yep.
Same thing. Her channel is massive, and I think it's weekly content that she puts out there. That's it.
And she took off like a couple of years, I think. She ended up having a child. She got married, but she was focusing on her business in the back end. But she knows this girl is so good at a title and a thumbnail, right? If you
Mhm.
look, very clear, a lot of contrast, just a few words. You know what it's about. Creates that
Mhm.
tension that makes you be like, oh, I do need to click on this.
Hmm. I love that. I'm glad that you said it doesn't need to be polished
Mm-mm.
because
Don't make it polished.
when I first started looking at YouTube, the production level of all of these videos was so over the top, and I thought, "Okay, great." I know how to make a video. I have some good camera and lighting and all of the things. but the editing, the gear, everything, and I was immediately defeated thinking, "Oh, I can't do this." And I remember speaking to my sales coach actually, and him telling me, "Don't worry. Actually, people are over that." With with AI and all of this perfect stuff out there,
Mhm.
we're kinda going back in time now to where people actually just want, like, a talking head video, and it can be imperfect, that's fine. It's you gotta be entertaining. You have to be saying
Mhm.
something valuable, so it's not that you can make a boring video and it be poor quality, it's not that. But if you have personality, if you have something important to share, it doesn't have to be this hyper-produced thing anymore. You just need to give good value.
Yeah. And you can be walking down the road filming yourself with your AirPods in, or your, corded microphone would be a little better, but you can just be chatting even without. It's fine. And people will understand a little bit of ambient noise, but they like that. Plus the moving background actually keeps people engaged. So it's so easy, and just start talking about what you know about that works for that audience.
I'm gonna make some of that this week. I can do that. That's easy.
Do it.
So what's the first step for someone that wants to start? They're hearing this and they're like, "Okay, I'm sold. This is a good idea." What do they do? What's the first step if they want to start a YouTube channel?
Yeah. So again, getting clear on that audience and that niche, and it's okay if it changes. Things can pivot. I mean, I have pivoted. I'm doing a hard pivot right now, right? But getting
Mhm.
very clear on that audience point. The main thing, and we've talked about this with some other channels you and I've reviewed, is having, you don't want it jumping all over. We want it like pretty clear about who this is for. And, we're not talking about cooking and then we're talking about, hiking and then we're talking about making YouTube videos. That's three different people. So picking one clear audience pain point and then making a video solving it. And then you can, for your next video, make another pain point for that same person. So the next part is equipment. Don't go crazy. Don't get like a ton of equipment. Start with your phone. I also have mirrorless DSLR, but you don't need to go this route just yet. I also have a DJI Pocket Osmo, but keep in mind, I've been doing this for almost 7 years, so I've collected these things. This one's so good for outside.
I want
But
that.
again, yes, I know it's so good. But start with your phone. That's what I started with.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
You know
then
what? You know what
just
actually is an amazing piece of equipment? My daughter Hannah's got her own little YouTube channel that she started called Real Bush Kid,
oh,
and
cute.
we live out on an island here, so she just films like her adventures, which are so epic out here. You know, flying in the bush plane with her dad and hunting
Mm,
moose and all these things. All she has is now I'm gonna blank on the name of it. Um, is a GoPro.
yeah.
And the sound on the new Go she doesn't have an external mic. She just has
Yeah.
the GoPro, and we're talking about filming outdoors with, like, the wind and, like, the plane in the background, and she's far away, and all I hear is her voice.
That's
That is
cool.
an amazing piece of equipment. Sorry, went on a tangent there, but, like, if you just needed, like, one thing, that is so epic.
Yes. Yeah. For especially for outdoors things. There's a guy, Justin Rhodes. I love his content, and he often has one strapped to his chest because he does farming and things like
Mhm,
that. So choosing, being clear on your audience, again, don't ever get stuck in perfectionism. It was invented by the devil to keep us stuck. So don't do it. So
mhm,
choose your one pain point, make a video about that. Do it on your phone or your GoPro or whatever. And then just start consistently posting. You can do it once a week. That's what I did. I didn't actually have like a bunch ready to go. And then treat
mhm,
YouTube as the engine that it is. Treat it as a part of your marketing and just let it go. Don't share it with your Facebook page, with your Facebook friends, because
mhm.
they may love you, but they're not all interested in your content. And that's just going to confuse the algorithm. Just put it out there. If you actually have, like, for you, your Instagram, which is very closely aligned to your YouTube, that makes sense. We can share it with them, but we don't need to just share it with randomly with people. That's not going to help us. And
Yeah.
then you can start getting onto your scripting, getting clear on your scripting and stuff after that.
That makes sense. Yeah, it's the long game. I think that's what people need to remember. My one
Uh-huh.
client has 300,000 YouTube subs, and she started off with 2 videos a week and did that for years until she had the time and capacity. I think it was 7 years in that she decided to
Mhm.
do it full time, and now she's got the high amount of subscribers and makes all of her income just from YouTube. But there was a strategy there, and it was the
Yeah.
long game. It wasn't, "I'm gonna do 1 video a week randomly and be rich tomorrow." She knew she had to put the time in, which is great for anybody to know. I mean, you could go hard. You could decide right out of the gates, "I'm gonna be a professional YouTuber and get paid here," and you could show up every day, and that actually could grow you really quickly, am I right? Yeah.
You could, highly unlikely, but yeah.
Yeah.
And actually for people who are for that person who I am friends with, who I know your other client, it's a gamble if almost all of your income is coming from YouTube.
Mhm.
I had a thing, it was a real glitch in the algorithm and it was called invalid traffic. And a lot of people were being hit with it. And it was like YouTube thought that you were sending people to only watch the ads, which would be a terrible strategy for anybody who knew anything about YouTube. And it really tanked my revenue and, it was unsubscribing people. Like it was crazy for about 6 months. And if you only had YouTube, and that's what I've said to some of my friends with the larger channels, is you have to diversify. Like at the very least, get email addresses, but
Yes.
also just have some other sources of income. I think YouTube is better if it's complementing the rest of your income.
100%. Well, and it matters what your niche is.
Yes.
Because the creators that I know who have grown their channels really quickly, it was a viral niche, like
Hmm.
news. So
Yeah.
those blew up really quickly. It was also timely, like when they developed it. And actually, some niches aren't meant for virality. And that's
Right.
okay. Like this channel right here, it's not meant, I'm not growing it with the intention of being viral. It's a library of content that people can use to better themselves and their businesses. And it's leading people somewhere else. So, like, there's different purposes for YouTube, is what I'm learning as well.
Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah. It is just a wonderful. It can be for entertainment, and those are the people who could use it for mostly, the income off of YouTube. But even then, I say to them, get a Patreon, like get something else,
Yeah.
just because you want that, especially if you're making big decisions like leaving jobs, etc.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. That makes sense.
Yeah.
So, Robin, what kind of person are you working with? So, do you work with anyone helping to grow their channel? Is there a particular kind of person that you're working with?
Yeah, so I do strategy, management, producing, and I will work with people who are entrepreneurs or coaches, especially people who they don't have that time to put into actually doing everything. Or I can coach you. But my done for you services are basically I can help you make all of your scripts and you just record it and then you're done. And then I do the rest. I get the editing done. I do the title, I do the thumbnail, I do the just everything, upload it for you. I will even go back and tweak some of the thumbnails. And so that is the done for you for those people who are just way too busy, but they know that YouTube will in the long run really help their business. But
Mhm.
I also do coaching and will do consulting for people who are like, actually, like, I can handle this. Mine's actually like pretty bare bones, but I don't really know the way to go about it. I can do that too.
Well, if somebody wants to work with you, where do they find you?
So you can find me on my Instagram, which is robynbuchanan.yt. And you can also find me on my YouTube channel, which is Robyn Buchanan. And you can connect with me in both of those spots. You can shoot me an email, which I will put down below in this description because I will be uploading this video myself because I am managing
Awesome.
Carla's stuff. So yeah, that's how you can connect with me.
Amazing. Awesome. Thank you for talking with me today, Robin. We'll have to bring you back, especially as this channel here grows, so people can see your beautiful before and afters over here. Anything else you want people to know about getting started on YouTube?
Just that it is so worth it. And
Mm.
it is a long game. But my very good friend, she started her relationship coaching channel last September, and it took her only 10 months to get monetized. She then doubled all of that. She is signing people off of it. She is growing her group coaching. It is really just being consistent. It will happen.
Amazing. Awesome. Thank you so much, Robyn. And we'll see you here for another video soon.
Yeah, thank you so much for having me.